Hey gang, it's your old buddy Platt here with a fun little video today. If you're regular on the channel, you know that I've been homebrewing for years, but I also make cider, mead, wine, what have you. And I get a lot of questions from people about, hey, my father's thinking about getting in the hobby, or I want to get in the hobby. Any tips for somebody? And so today I thought I'd do this quick little video, my top 5 tips for new homebrewers. So with that being said, let's get going. All right, tip number 1. Start with kits. One thing about homebrewing is, like any other hobby, you can get as complicated or as simple as you want to. I am for simple. This is can be a really intense hobby, and you need to start learning the basics before you jump in. A lot of people want to just jump right into all grain brewing. That's the type of brewing they do at the commercial level, but I advise you start off a little slower. And these homebrew kits are just fabulous. These two specific here are the Brew Demon and the Mr. Beer. Mr. Beer is what I started off with 20-something years ago. It was one of the first real simple kits out there. And what both these kits have is something called hopped malt extract. Basically, they hop the beer for you, and they also extract the malt sugars that we're wanting for the yeast to ferment into beer. They do that step for you. These kits are great at just learning the very basics, things like proper sanitation steps, maintaining a proper fermentation temperature, the basics of bottling. These kits are great for the absolute basics, which as a new homebrewer, you need to learn. Also, what I like about the kits is some of the full kits or complete kits have everything you need, not just the fermenter or not just the hopped extract. They have things like bottles, caps. If you're going with the old school crown caps, they have cappers. Some will have plastic bottles with reusable lids. Some of them come with thermometers, hydrometers. You get all the equipment that you need but don't think of at the time. They come in handy. Most of them have at least instructions printed. I know the old Mr. Beers used to have a DVD that came along. Just really made your life simple. And once you get further along in homebrewing, you'll love these little specialized fermenters. They come in handy. If I do a 5-gallon batch, these are 2.5-gallon fermenters. I could split it. Maybe I pitch this with one yeast, this other with another yeast, different type of hops, for dry hopping. These kits are just absolutely fabulous. It's what I recommend for new home brewers. So let's move on. Tip number 2, start small. One of the things when you get into homebrewing is you realize, hey, I'm making beer. Man, we can have fun. Let's have a kegger. Let's go make all this beer. Not so fast, my friend. There are a lot of reasons to start smaller. One is, this is a 1-gallon bucket. This is a 5-gallon bucket. This, when it's full, it's not too heavy. You can move it around. This weighs a lot. This, if you spilt on your counter whatever, would be a mess, but you can survive. You spill this, it's an absolute nightmare. Also, too, when you start homebrewing, the reality is there's probably going to be some beers you screwed up or just don't come off tasting great. They may not be properly carbonated, what have you. Make small mistakes, not big mistakes. That being said, let's move on. Tip number 3. Find someone to talk about homebrewing with. My main suggestion is, if you're in a large enough city that has a homebrew shop, get to know that owner. Now, you could buy your stuff through Amazon or Walmart or even like More Beer, Northern Brewer, the big homebrew websites, but it is really nice to have a physical store to go to so you can kind of see this stuff in person, but be an actual human to talk to. There are no big national chains of homebrew shops, so your homebrew shop is a small business person. And they, care about their products and their customers, and they will talk you through most things. My guy here in Las Vegas at Vegas Homebrew, man, he'll answer a question anytime. You can call him. Just absolutely wonderful. And things like, recipe building, or, well, I can't find this malt. Is there a substitute? Hops, is there a substitute? Yeast, can I use a different yeast strain for this, that, and the other? They're just absolutely fabulous, and if you have that option, get to know them. Now, if you're in a more remote location and don't have access to that, see if there's a local homebrew club, or get on online forums, or join the American Homebrewer Association, which I'm a member of. But find someone else to talk about homebrewing with. I guess if anything, try to, homebrew with a friend. Maybe you're not a big science guy, but maybe they actually took biology in college and can learn a little bit about yeast or whatever. But just finding that person to bounce ideas and things off of just really makes the hobby a little more fun and helps you, learn faster because you have additional resources. Now let's move on. Tip number 4, build skills. One of the ruts you can get to as a homebrewer is just kind of either if you're in the kit phase, just kind of brewing one kit after another. We go from a blonde ale to a pale ale. Once you start kind of making recipes on your own or following other recipe books, again, kind of the same thing. Just one ale after another, you follow the recipe and just kind of move on. Start learning other aspects of the process. Bottling. Learn how, learn more about priming sugars, different things you can use as priming sugar. Different level of carbonations, because different beer styles require different levels of carbonation. Get into things like home kegging or what have you. There's just so many aspects to this hobby, and if you just brew beer all the time, you kind of forget to learn these things. Now, each time you brew, you obviously do learn, but you'll learn faster if you'll spend some time working on different aspects. Think of it like the game of golf. You go play a round of golf every week, yeah, you'll get better, but if you spend some time on the driving range, spend some time on the putting green, you'll work on those skills to help, drop your score. Here, you'll work on those skills to help make better beer. With that being said, let's move on. And lastly, tip number 5, it's a hobby. Have fun. This is a really, really fun hobby to do. They're really great people in the hobby. You should have fun with this. Don't take this too serious. A lot of people, once they get brewing, they want to get into competitions or someday, dream of owning a brewery. That is a long way off. Have fun with this. Try different things. Don't feel like you have to work inside a certain box. Don't be afraid to experiment, and not just experiment in beer. Try making wine, try making cider, try making mead, try different things. You'll be surprised how a lot of things in wine and cider and mead making transfer over to beer making. And if you ever get into home distillation, all this translates into that. Have fun with this, try different things. One thing I get from new home brewers, and something I had to face, is a lot of times you'll make beer and you want to share it with friends. The reality is most of your friends are probably Miller Lite or Bud Light drinkers, and they don't have taste buds. And, I had a friend used to say he was a regular guy wanting a regular guy beer. I quit letting him try my beer. If you have those friends, don't try to convert them. They don't want to, change, so don't worry about it. That's why I suggest brewing small, because you can brew for yourself, because that's what this really is about. You brewing for yourself. If you're a home brewer, you probably really do like beer and different styles of beer, so brew for yourself. But don't take this too serious. Also, don't let things like sanitation or whatever. I get a lot of new homebrewers get really wound up on the sanitation, which is very important, but remember, humanity's been brewing beers for thousands of years. We didn't have all the sanitation science we do today, and they were still able to brew beers. Remember, this is fun. Well, guys, I hope if you're a new home brewer, this really helps you out. I also hope that you liked the video. If you did, please hit subscribe down below. Also, please like the video because it lets YouTube know we're putting out good content. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or ideas for videos, please leave me in the comment section, or you can always contact me on the Twitter page. Well, until next time, bottoms up.